I know. John. So today I am joined by first by Sister Governor John Schroeder from District 404, but more importantly from the Seal Beach Lions Club. Seal Beach is an amazing story, and John's agreed to spend some time with us this afternoon to share some of the history, some of the tips, some of the techniques that Seal Beach has used to grow to their amazing membership. And any club in California, any club anywhere, could take what John and the Seal Beach Lions have learned, put it to work for themselves, and grow their membership as well. So John, I want to thank you for being here. And with no further ado, let's get started. Why don't you start with the history of where the club started from and how did they get going on this amazing membership journey?
Okay, well, Seal Beach is a club that started about 81 years ago. So it's a long time club. But about 10 years ago, the members of the club decided that they wanted to do something to continue to grow membership. At that point, they had close to 80 members in the club, so they were a fairly good-sized club, but they thought that if they worked on things, they might be able to grow even larger. So they developed what they call a 5-year plan, how to continue to grow and serve their community. And the main thing that the club decided was most important was service. A big surprise. Service sells lions. So they decided to become much more visible in the Seal Beach community. And how did they do that? Well, they did hands-on projects. They decided that they wanted to do graffiti removal. They worked on that. They worked with the local police, with whatever club or organization was available in Seal Beach. They wanted to be the go-to club in Seal Beach for if an organization needs help. And they also indicated that no matter what the organization was, whether it was the Chamber of Commerce or the Rotary or whatever, Seal Beach was there to help in any way that Seal Beach Lions could. And part of that, once you get that exposure, you gotta not, there's an expression. You don't wanna put a bright light bulb under a basket. It won't shine that way. So Seal Beach decided to get rid of the basket and instead to promote. And how they did that is they did that in the local newspaper. And whenever they had a project, they made sure that they wore their Seal Beach Lions shirts. And they were very vocal about the fact that this was a Seal Beach project. So that's some of the things that they decided to do. And this was basically spearheaded by two fantastic Lions in the club, Jim Clissanen and Scott Newton. Those are the two that have sponsored probably the most in our club. Again, we started out at about 80 members about 10 years ago, and now we're at, I just checked it today, Liz, 351 members.
My God.
Now, when I joined the club about 3 years ago, we had about 300. So we continue to grow. And the only way that you do that is by making sure that your members are involved and make sure that the service is present and also something that is visible. We like to make sure that we have a slogan in the Seal Beach Lions Club. And that slogan is, we never let a lion fail. So the other clubs in the area understand that if they need help, they can call on Seal Beach. And you'd be surprised. I mean, I had the Tustin Lions Club, for instance, contact the Seal Beach Club because they have what's called Tiller Days in Tustin, where they had what's like a fair. And they needed help in the beer booth. Well, say no more. I'm there. I thought it was just going to be a lot of work, but I had a lot of fun. Turned out that the beer booth is located near the band, and they were playing 60s music, so I was in heaven. So,
That's
you know,
amazing.
there's a lot of things that we can do to help not only in our own organization, our own club, but also in other organizations. Another example, the Seal Beach Police Department put on an open house every year. Well, we decided, because we wanted to help them, that we would give away hot dogs and drinks. We don't charge, but we of course have our emblems there. We're all wearing our shirts. We put up our tent that says Seal Beach Lions Club, and of course we have our brochures there for people to look at. This is how you get exposure in Lions. And of course, the other thing that we did is we encouraged Leos. All right, so we have 2 Leo organizations that we work with that are sponsored by the club. And we make sure to include the Leos in everything that we do, so that they understand that that's part of being a lion is service. Again, service, 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 Liz.
Yay, that's awesome. I also remember that you talked about the fact that as Lions, we have certain traditions that we've carried on for many, many years. And your club decided to take a look at those traditions in terms of the new members and how they might feel or think about them. Can you share a little bit about that, please?
Well, one of the things that we had a little pushback on, and when we first adopted it, was we eliminated the song. And the reason for that is basically young people today don't learn those songs. They don't get a chance to learn them. They don't like to sing something that they obviously don't know. And besides that, most of us are off key. So getting rid of that song helped modernize the club, okay? We still, of course, have a Pledge of Allegiance and a prayer, but we've eliminated the song. One of the other things we did is we eliminated fines. We don't do fines anymore. Instead, we do happy dollars and self-reporting. If somebody has a new grandchild or a new child or a new car, they might report that. Or if somebody has had a son or daughter that just recently graduated from college, they might report that and contribute some money for that. I was a tail twister last year, and quite honestly, we collected more money in happy dollars and people self-reporting that I ever did as a tail twister before collecting fines. Fines were usually about $1, but maybe somebody will put in a 20 for a new grandchild. You never know.
And how has that increase in income, if you will, affected your dues? Has it at all?
Well, what we do is we try to keep the dues and the expenses in the club down. We don't charge as much as a lot of our local clubs because we have additional administrative funds that can help out with that. The other thing that we do is we eliminated the meal. You don't have to buy a meal to come to our club. In fact, most of our meetings don't have any meal at all. We just drink, of course, which helps a lot as opposed to eating. But what happens is, again, the younger members don't want to spend or don't have the money to spend $20, $25 for a dinner that they may not even like or want. So we eliminated that. And again, that helps on the cost. If you come in and don't want to have a drink or don't want to do anything like that, that's fine. Nobody says anything about any of that. So it's up to the individual members. If they just want to come on in and participate, that's fine. At our general meetings, we would run about 60 to 70 people in attendance. And in the meetings, we didn't have a program. We have possibly 4 programs a year. Most of our meetings are involved with what are our projects coming up and a report on the projects that we've just done. Before the COVID-19 hit, we were averaging at least 2 projects per weekend. So
Wow.
with over 100 projects per year, we don't have the time to have a program as well and get out at an hour. So they decided to eliminate the program. We have one when the district governor visits, for example, but that is about it.
Mm-hmm.
We also did one other thing. We meet twice a month, not every week. And we meet on the first and the third of the month. And sometimes, of course, there's a fifth Wednesday of the month. If there's a fifth Wednesday, that's a social night.
Mm-hmm.
And we meet at a local pizza parlor, and the club provides the pizza and you provide the beer or whatever. So that's another chance for members or new members, excuse me, or prospective members to get a chance to talk to people in a casual setting. And we've encouraged and received a lot of members that have just come in through that. Well, this sounds like an interesting group. Let me find out more. And then they attend a regular meeting and soon they're in.
Awesome, awesome. I was always struck with how in the world do you manage that number of people in a club? And in reading through your 5-year plan and some other documents that you guys have shared, I saw your master calendar for one thing, and talk about an amazing recruiting tool, but it's also a great way to keep your members informed in terms of what the projects are that are coming up. And then you also, I think, kind of enhanced your website. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, one of the things that we did is we created a Lions only portion of it so that anybody can come on in and look at our website. But if you want to take a look and see our calendar or get a list of the members and their email or phone numbers, you have to put in a passcode to get into that.
Okay.
And it is valuable to have a website in which you can go to it and say, I wonder what's coming up. And the big projects in our list are highlighted, but every weekend we were doing something. Now that, of course, has been cut back because of COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
but still, we maintain the master calendar and we try to work around things.
Mm-hmm.
For example, we put on the Christmas parade in Seal Beach every year, and we would average about 2,500 participants in the parade and about another 2,000 or 3,000 that watch it. So that was a big endeavor. This year, we had to cancel. So what did we do? We decided to do a car caravan. Now, we did a similar car caravan on July 4th, and it was a big success. This one at Christmas, I think, is even going to be larger. And the participants are encouraged to decorate their cars, and we're going to weave our way through Old Town Seal Beach. One of the interesting things, Liz, is that the marching bands that used to participate in our Christmas parade are going to be stationary throughout the caravan route, and the caravan will go by the bands as opposed to the bands going by the people. So you learn to adapt. You have to adapt in order to be successful. And of course, just today, I saw in today's local newspaper, The Sun here in Seal Beach, that caravan was featured on the front page of the newspaper.
Oh my
So
God.
this is the kind of exposure that you really have to have for your club. On the same newspaper, later on in the newspaper, there was an article about our pumpkin contest that we just did with pictures. So everybody could see that as well. So you just got to be creative. You got to keep on sending the stuff into the newspaper. And it's like the old spaghetti. If you throw enough against the wall, some of it's going to stick.
That's perfect. That's perfect. I was amazed to learn that the population of Seal Beach is only 25,000 people. Yet you have grown a Lions Club that is currently at 351 people. what kind of projects? I think I read that when you started out, it was mostly like community improvement kind of things. And maybe you can talk about your clock tower too, but that more recently you're kind of getting a focus more on site kind of things. So how's that working?
Well, one of the things we have in Southern California here is California Lions Friends in Sight. And
Mm.
they had vision screenings throughout Southern California and even in Mexico. We participated in every single one.
Oh
For
my God.
example, there was one that appeared last year in Stanton. Now, the Stanton Lions Club has about 10, 12 members in it. Now, they could not put on a screening, an all-day screening with only that number of members. They'd be exhausted. We came over and we helped.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, we have that slogan, we never let a lion fail. So
I love that.
we are all the time doing that. We had a donation from a Walmart that decided they no longer wanted to sell readers. So we give away reading glasses every weekend at our pier. So anybody that wants free glasses, along with one of our brochures about our club, can come by the pier and pick up free glasses anytime.
Mm-hmm.
So these are the types of small projects that you can do to help, again, encourage people to become members of your club.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing we did, and it's over my shoulder, is we changed our logo a little bit. We wanted to emphasize that we are a club that serves Seal Beach. So although we have the We Serve that is the international slogan, we put some waves on the bottom and we serve Seal Beach.
Nice.
So even our local logo tells the story that we are here to serve the residents of Seal Beach. During the pandemic, what have we done? We've done things like each week we select a different local business to support, such as a local restaurant. And then we go to the restaurant, order food, make sure that we wear our Seal Beach Lions emblem and shirts and whatever, so that you can make sure that the local business understands that we're supporting them just as they have supported us in the past.
Mm-hmm.
That's essential. You got to make sure that the locals understand that you're there to help.
That's amazing. That's just amazing. Speaking about your Lions gear, if you will, you went into a little bit more detail when I heard you speak earlier. And what you've done is created shirts and wearables that no matter how old you are, you would gravitate toward it. So talk a little bit about the variety that you have going on.
Well, we are lucky in one sense. We have a member of our clubs that is the graphic designer and prepares a lot of things for us. Every year we have a different shirt for our fish fry, which is one of our major fundraisers. The other thing that we did recently is we had like I said, we had the 4th of July parade. Well, I wanted to do something that show that off a little bit. So we put together a shirt that has the Lions emblem on it, but is red, white, and blue. It stands out. Again, you got to make sure that you have this. And of course, we also have signs. We have signs that say, this is another Lions project, a Seal Beach Lions project. You got to make sure that you continue to support yourself in the community and remain visible. It's key to growth is you have to be visible. So we developed a plan that basically says, if we build an organization that people are going to look at and say, hey, that sounds like something I'd like to be in, they will join. So our slogan was, at that time was, if we build it, they will join. The ask approach did not particularly work in Seal Beach, and we've had problems with it throughout California. Instead, we promote our projects, and therefore, instead, people say, well, how can I join? I would like to participate in this. And we have been more successful by doing that approach than strictly the ask, ask, ask approach.
Mhm. I so appreciate that you said that, because I find the same is true with the branch club that I'm involved in. You can ask until you're blue in the face, but if you're out doing service, that's what people gravitate to, and it's the people who have that heart for service. So they're excited to be there with you and be a part of the organization. Um, I'm still struck by how it is you stay in contact with your club members. So you've got a website that's on steroids, just doing all kinds of great things for you. You've got an amazing master calendar. You also have a Facebook page, and you use Constant Contact, I think. Can you talk a little bit about that, please?
Okay, yes, we produce a weekly, we call it the Roar, and in the Roar is information about the upcoming events that we have going on, whether it's a visitation, whether it's a project, whatever. It's in that every week, and that goes out by Constant Contact.
Okay.
And for the Facebook, well, that's generally me, Liz. I'm the one who does most of the posting on Facebook. And of course, I use large fonts, as you're aware.
I
That's an
appreciate
inside
that.
joke.
That's
But anyway,
cool.
that's
cool.
how you keep visible as well. We have a lot of people that find out information strictly from our Facebook page.
Mm-hmm. And then do you have people that just show up and want to be involved in the project with you?
That does happen. It does happen, you know, and if first thing we do is hand them a brochure. Come to our meeting. Come to this particular event that's coming up. Now, Lions International has a brochure that you can use, but I strongly recommend that you create one that is more individualized. We did one that was very upscale for us, and it might not appeal to all clubs, but I like it, and that mainly because I did it, Liz. But we found that was a good way to publicize as well. You gotta keep in front of the people, or else you can't get new members. And surprisingly, we've remained steady even during the pandemic. Yes, we dropped some members, but we've also added new members, surprisingly. So if you have a true heart for service, I think you're going to stick it in there and want to participate in this organization, because we're there to help others.
So kind of starting to wrap up now, but what is it about the Seal Beach Lions Club that resonated with you, that just spoke to you and said, you need to join this club?
Well, a couple of different things, Liz. First of all, they meet about a mile from my house, so it was very, very convenient. And secondly, I thought, well, this has got a lot of members in it. It was about 300 at the time I joined. I won't have to do as much. Didn't work out that way, Liz, but that's why I got tapped to be a vice district governor. Anyway, next year in 2021, I'll be coming in as governor of this district. It'll be, Liz, do you realize it'll be the 30th anniversary of the first time I was governor?
Oh my gosh.
In your district, 4C6.
Oh my gosh.
So I plan to do it every 30 years. So the next time, I guess I'll be 130. No,
oh my
I
word.
think it's actually 103, but that's okay.
Okay. Cool. So there's definitely some things about this club that spoke to you and that helped you feel connected with it.
Well, I've always been one to like service.
Yeah.
You know that. I've been involved with the Lions Eye Foundation in Northern California. Still involved with them. I still do their webpage, to be honest with you. I've also been involved with a number of Lion centers, things of that nature. So service has always been very important part of my life, and I could see that Seal Beach was a club that loved service and was a place that seemed to be a good fit for me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that that's the most important thing. You got to make sure that you go on in and feel comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other things that I think I should note is, even though I'm a past district governor, even though I'd been over a 30 years member, I didn't walk into Seal Beach and tell them how to run their club. That would not have gone over.
Good for you. Good for you.
You may have opinions. For the first year or so, I just kept my mouth shut and just participated in whatever projects were coming up.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to make sure that you understand the nature of the club before you decide to jump in with 2 feet and say, hey, how about this project?
Mm-hmm.
Now, remember I told you, we never let a lion fail. So if you come in with a new project, guess what? We'll support you on it. And guess who's going to be the chair of it?
Good.
I came in with the pumpkin decorating contest. I immediately became chair. But it was a big success. In fact, the pumpkins were just featured also in our local newspaper, the winning participants.
That's awesome.
So these are the kind of things you need to do. You need to send out those press releases. Yes, it takes a few minutes, but if you've taken photos for your Facebook page, and by the way, everybody likes to look at themselves on Facebook if they're a member of Facebook. So if you've taken those photos, prepare a brief press release, send it into the local newspaper. You may be surprised.
Mm-hmm.
They will put it in there. I mean, they're tired of Trump and Biden, for God's sake. They want to do something else.
They want some good news.
Yes.
So
decorated pumpkins are much better than those two.
Absolutely. Absolutely. 2 things struck me about this club, and then I'll let you go this afternoon. But first of all, well, service goes without saying because it's what we do. But the social and the fellowship and the connection that your members have, considering there's over 300 of them, I'm just amazed. And they all have they just have this amazing pride that they're part of the Seal Beach Lions Club. So I think that's definitely a huge ingredient for your success. Would you say so?
Oh, yes. I mean, you know, when Sylvia, my wife, and I moved down here, we didn't know anybody. Literally knew nobody in the Long Beach area where we currently reside, right next to Seal Beach. But right away, I had over 100 friends that I would see every couple of weeks. And it was wonderful to be able to know that there are people that and friends that I have made and are going to remain friends for the rest of my life. Even though we don't live near each other anymore, Liz, I consider you a friend. How about that?
Absolutely. Absolutely. That's cool. Thank you, John. And then what I really want to focus on in closing is I'm so impressed with the documentation and the structure that your club has put together. You have a 5-year plan. You have a sheet on how you dealt with traditions. You review these documents. Your 5-year plan goes into 4 phases of things. I'm so impressed with the level with which your members went to make sure that this continues to be a success and has a great foundation. So 2 things come to mind. First of all, how many people are involved in putting that together? And then secondly, if any other Lion in California was interested in seeing those documents, could they reach out to you or me and be able to get them?
Well, again, you don't hide a good idea under a basket. So that if anybody wants to take a look at these, that's great. I'd be happy to supply it. I've sent a copy to you, Liz, so you could supply it as well. Will it work for every club? Maybe not. But there are certain parts of it that certainly will work. Okay.
Exactly.
If you're down to 5 members, it's going to be difficult to remain as visible as a club with 80. But there are other parts of that 5-year plan that you can take to heart, and different approaches that you could use. So by all means, go ahead and share that with whoever wants a copy, because I'd be more than happy to have anybody take a look at it.
Awesome.
It's an important document. Primarily, it's prepared by Lion Scott Newton, who is one of the major movers and shakers in our club, and the board of directors. Of course, the board approves all of the things that are in the plan, but the authorship of that was primarily Scott. So hats off to Scott, and I want to make sure that he gets the proper credit for working on that project, and then, of course, updating it as well.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Well, John, I want to thank you very much for spending this time this afternoon going over Seal Beach and what you've learned and how they've grown and tips and techniques. I know this is going to be very valuable for any other Lion in California Lions Club that wants to get serious about growing their membership. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
One other last closing, make sure that now, since we're all doing Zoom, visit other clubs, find out what they're up to. This is the easiest time for visitations. You'd be surprised what you can learn by visiting another club. I mean, that's where I picked up the pumpkin contest. I saw that on a Zoom with another club, not even in our district. So you never know where you're going to find something that you'll find valuable to share with your membership and your community. God bless you, Liz. Thanks for the interview. I hope I wasn't too wordy.
You were awesome, John. Thank you so very much. Have a wonderful day.
You too. Bye-bye.